I'm in a car at the moment where when I approach the car, it unlocks. When I get in the car, it's already ready to go. And it just gave me an indication now because it has a camera on the A-pillar. And that A-pillar camera is looking at me and is looking at my eyes. And every now and then it decides that I'm not paying enough attention to the road, and it kind of admonishes me with a message. The car, of course, is electric. The car is, of course, automatic. I don't have to change any gears. It also has auto braking. Right now, I could activate cruise control on this car, which is not just cruise control, of course. It's not even adaptive control. It's adaptive cruise control. It's actually intelligent cruise control, which means that basically it's kind of like an autopilot system. But it wants you to hold the steering wheel. That's the little stop that it gives you. It's like, no, please hold the steering wheel. However, I'll do everything else. And the weird thing on this particular car, actually, I really didn't like it because, then if you do try and correct the steering of your own accord, you have to really fight it, because then it becomes sticky and it doesn't really want to obey what you're telling it to do. But that's the nature of the modern car, of the brand new cars. They're coming with all this equipment. It'll brake for you, It'll park for you. It'll reverse out of a slot for you. But the biggest thing about these cars, as I mentioned, is that it is monitoring you. And a lot of these cars are recording inputs, recording data. They're not necessarily, I've done another video about this, and you can go and watch it, where the video is basically the car is spying on you. And the systems are in the car that enable them to be able to do exactly that, but they're not doing that necessarily, not at the moment, because of the laws and stuff like that. But they could do it because they're connected. There are sensors, they are logging inputs, they are logging the amount of accelerator that you're using, the time that you're going out, where you are driving. All of these things are being logged and recorded. Not necessarily sent anywhere, they might be in your car only. And they're not all doing it, but they could do it. The point is that they could do it.
A brown car guy.
I've been testing cars or reviewing cars for over 35 years. And you got into a car and all the controls were pretty basic and straightforward. You knew where everything was, you knew what everything did. And the idea was that you got in the car and then you judged the car. You judged the car because you decided how does it feel, how does it drive, how are the controls, how is the ride, how is the acceleration, how is the braking, how is the turning, how is the steering. You're deciding that, you're judging it. That was part of the process of doing what we do. The trouble is now, it can't help shake the feeling that it's not so much me doing the judging as the car judging me. And I think that's almost like the point that what we're getting at now, especially when you're getting more and more AI in these cars and stuff like this. The car is judging you. The car is monitoring your driving, it's monitoring what you're doing, it's monitoring where you're going, when you're going, how you're driving, how much accelerator you're using, how hard you're braking. The car is judging you. And, it gets to a point where it's like, well, the car will decide, well, actually, I can do it better. And we're getting to that point already. Even the wipers are activated by themselves. I was like, what's that thing doing at the back? It's just activated itself. And, there's less and less of you thinking and putting inputs in, and more, actually it's doing it too much, I need to stop that. Less and less of you thinking and putting in the inputs, and more of the car actually deciding what it wants to do and what it should be doing. And I think that we're losing something that's very valuable here. And we're losing that ability to control. One of the joys of driving, one of the great things about driving was to get into a vehicle and to know that you were the one driving it, that you were the one that was going to exercise some mastery and control of that vehicle. But now it's like, no, because the car is doing the car is steering for you, for God's sakes. It's like one of those games, like a racing game or something, where, you've got assistance set to maximum. And, so it's showing you the racing line, it's doing the braking for you, it's even helping you with the turning and everything like that, because the assistance is maximum. So you're almost a passenger at that point. And it's getting to that point now with some of these cars. And when that happens, I think there's a certain level of complacency that sets in. because people start to rely more and more on the tech. That's when the more the tech takes over, the more you then start to rely on the tech. So because you go, well, okay, well, the tech will look after me. And then what happens if the tech fails? What happens if the tech glitches? So for example, just now, I always use the navigation systems, right? Even when I know where I'm going, I've said this before, because it tells you about the cameras and the traffic and all the rest of it. But somewhere where I was now, I don't know if it was because of where we were or because of the rain, because it was really stormy earlier on, and the systems wouldn't work. There was no signal whatsoever. And I don't carry a map anymore, like in the old days. And all of a sudden I've left that place and I'm like, oh man, I have to remember which way I came in now, because there's no navigation to help me go out again. So all of a sudden I've reverted back to like, oh, okay, using my instincts and judgment, going, okay, well, I must have come in from, I think I turned west, so I've got to go back east, So it's that sort of thing. And this is something that we used to do all the time before, judging our way, feeling our way, getting lost, and then only to go, yes, I found my way back, But increasingly now we're relying so much on these systems that we've almost forgotten how to do that. And again, the same goes for the driving aspect of it. I reversed the car. I was reviewing a car, and I had parked the car at the end of a narrow place where there was an empty space, so I was filming it there. Then I had the car facing the wrong way, and I wanted to leave, and I thought, rather than me doing a 15-point turn to get it round again, I'll just reverse all the way back, and then I'll go out. And I put my hand over the shoulder of the passenger seat and turned my neck to look back. And I thought, well, actually, why am I doing that? Because it's giving me a camera on the screen. Between the camera and the rearview mirrors, I shouldn't really do that. I can just use those things. And then, of course, it's beeping and bonging. And if there is anything there, then it will alert me. But yet part of me was like, no, but that's the way I've been taught. That's my instinct. That's my gut instinct, is to do it that way. In the end, I did a mixture of it. So that's kind of a hybrid version of it. And I think that this is the aspect of what I'm talking about, is losing the skills that we had as drivers because they've been taken over by the tech in the car, which we then start to become reliant upon and complacent with, and thereby completely erode the skills and talents and abilities that we had.
Check out Brown Car Guy's latest novel, Silent Ruin. Action, adventure, spies, betrayal, romance, plus of course cool cars and car chases, it's got the lot. And don't forget How to Be an Automotive Content Creator, the ULEZ Files and Quantum Races. All Brown Car Guy's books are available on Amazon and Kindle Unlimited.
So is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? Discuss. I think that the other aspect of all of this is the enjoyment and the satisfaction. And the reality is that, of course, you're going to get more satisfaction and more enjoyment out of anything that you're controlling yourself, especially the satisfaction part. And the enjoyment part is because generally the things where you're having to control everything yourself are more visceral, they're more connected, they're more, not connected to the internet, I mean connected to you. So, you feel more of what's going on, and that adds to the enjoyment. There was a survey that was done that was talking about, yes, there is such a thing as the thrill of driving. And it's not even necessarily speed. It's just the ability to feel the car, to control the car, to have the knowledge that you are actually in control of the car. Of course, the speed element comes into it. So we are, I think, losing all of those things. Now, for a lot of people, that might be okay. I mean, like, they may be like, yeah, I can't be doing with driving. It's too much hassle. It's too scary. I'm too intimidated by it. And then, you know what? That's fine as well. That's okay. I understand that. I understand that for a lot of people. Maybe driving isn't for everybody. But could we have a happy mixture of that? Would we live in a world where we had autonomous cars and cars that you would drive yourself? I don't know, because I think at that point you would end up with a situation where road traffic control systems would require a certain symmetry of how the traffic flows, which would then mean that humans would not be able to replicate what automatons, AI, driverless cars would be doing. And I can see at that point, particularly as I put a video up yesterday about the fact that, you know, there's been these trends about people driving recklessly and dangerously and posting videos, and I can see a groundswell of public opinion and support eventually coming in to clamp down on those people and going, you know what, you know, we don't want to let people drive the cars anymore because they're too stupid, too irresponsible, and too reckless. And again, that's another reason why we need to be careful about, you know, even as petrol heads, you know, we need to be careful when and where and how we're driving. Because we don't want that kind of thing to spread. But again, I do wonder if we would ever be allowed to do that. And then I wonder, well, where would that leave classic cars? Because if you own a classic car, it doesn't have all that tech in it. And to retro-install that tech into a classic car, I suppose you could install some monitoring equipment. Could there be GPS and camera monitoring and stuff like that? But you couldn't necessarily install stuff that would control the car. You know, because they're not drive-by-wire, they're all mechanically driven cars. But nonetheless, that still, you know, wouldn't stop them from trying to do that, to put a monitoring equipment into it, or just ban them altogether. And that's a future that I have actually discussed in my in a couple of the short stories in my book, Quantum Races. There's a plug for my book. Do get them? Quantum Races on Amazon. It's 13 short stories, some of which are sci-fi and some of which are car-related. So if you're a petrolhead, you might enjoy them.
If you found this video useful or entertaining, support the Brown Car Guy channel at these links, hit like, leave a comment, and make sure you're subscribing.
This all gives me pause for concern, and it does make me wonder if we are on something of a clock now when it comes to cars and car culture and driving. I hate to think so, but I fear it is true. Let me know what you think. I want to hear your thoughts. I look forward to hearing them, and I'll catch you all in the next video.